For we are opposed around the world by a monolithic and ruthless conspiracy that relies primarily on covert means for expanding its sphere of influence, on guerrillas by night instead of armies by day. On infiltration instead of invasion, on subversion instead of elections.
If I were the devil, I'd take from those who have and give to those who want it until I had killed the incentive of the ambitious.
Violence and vandalism is being led by Antifa and other radical left-wing groups who are terrorizing the innocent, destroying jobs, hurting businesses, and burning down buildings. They are coming after me because I am fighting for you. That's what's happening.
Greetings, fellow thought criminals, and thank you for joining the insurrection. I'm Michael Albert. This is Derek Evans. It's another glorious day in America's new golden age. We got record highs for the stock market. The tariffs are working exactly as planned, and it's another bright day in America's future.
Hey, at the end of the day, all we needed was a new president. Hope you guys are having a great day. As always, like, share, subscribe, all those good things. If you're watching live, hop in the comments. I read every single comment, and I do my very best to give shout-outs just like this. We've got Kelly Song already over here in the Rumble chat, and then in the X chat, we've got Thaddeus and Shelly. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. We have an awesome show lined up for you guys here today.
Oh, yeah. And before we jump into some of the victories, I got a video for you guys from a Gutfeld from the other day. Comedian Jeff Dye dropping some truth bombs.
She's so rotten, she wants migrants picking cotton. We present to you Democratic Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, who made this shocking argument why America needs immigrants. Roll it, Alfred.
So I had to go around the country and educate people about what immigrants do for this country, or the fact that we are a country of y'all trying to go and farm right now. Okay, so I'm lying. Raise your hands.
This is when the wheels fall off.
You're not. We done picking cotton.
Huh?
We are. You can't pay us enough to find a plantation.
Getting to be the face of that party.
I know, thanks to your show.
Yeah.
I don't know what's more popular, this or The View.
It is kind of funny the way she considers illegal immigrants just to be. I mean, it's a few iterations from slavery.
Yeah, they've literally, liberals have become, for the most, as obsessed with race as the left is. They seem to not know what racism is because they do it all the time. That was like the most racist thing I've ever heard. She's going, well, no, Mexicans are going to pick the cotton because we ain't doing it. You're like, wait, what? It's not even, you're not, what are you talking about? And it's just, they constantly do these things. Oh, black people don't have IDs. Or the people don't have IDs, or they don't know where to vote, and that's why the black vote is down. It's like they just constantly make racist remarks that are setting their own people back super, far, and I don't know how they don't get that. How do they not see that what they're doing? Wokeism is racism. And it's terrible. It's very confusing.
Racism is in the DNA of the Democrat Party, and there is no escaping it.
That's a fact, and they're also sexist. They're claiming that women can't get these IDs to vote as well now. You know what I mean? So they're racist, they're sexist. At the end of the day, though, they're staying true to who they are. Because that's how the party was built originally, anyways. So props to them, I guess, for holding the line as to the founding principles of the Democrat Party, if you will.
Exactly, racism and terrorism, the two wings of the Democrat Party. All right, guys, we had some good news, a lot of good news yesterday. Breaking: House passes Rep. Darrell Iss's No Rogue Rulings Act to limit rogue activist district court judges. One Republican joins Democrats and votes no. I mean, this is awesome. This is exactly what we need. These judges have to be reined in and put under control. Trump had another Supreme Court victory yesterday, too, by the way, happened after our show, where I guess he is now allowed to also fire these merit board members and others that have been had all the cases against him. I know he's already won some victories there in the lower courts and at the appeals court level, but the Supreme Court stepped in and again said, hey, the executive office is allowed to make their own hiring and firing decisions, just like, has been in time in perpetuity.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to get excited about this. There's already other things that they could be doing to hold these rogue judges accountable. This seems to me like one of those strongly worded letters, if you will. It's just a really strongly worded bill. I mean, who cares if they're not going to enforce it? There's already other measures in place to hold these people accountable, and they're not doing it. There's multiple impeachment filings already. Andy Biggs has got the one that actually doesn't require impeachment. It's a different way of doing it. And none of these bills are moving forward right now. So, I'm not going to hold my breath on anything actually coming of this other than a bunch of fundraising emails and letters saying that they've actually done something. For the record, the one Republican, I was just looking it up here, is who voted against this is Republican Mike Turner from Ohio. I don't know what district he's in or anything like that, but this guy needs primaried. How do you vote against that? I mean, once again, I'm not really expecting them to do much with it, but I don't understand how as a so-called conservative, a so-called Republican, you would actually vote against this of all the things to vote against right now.
Yeah, no kidding. And actually, I didn't realize it was Mike Turner. I mean, he is a uniparty rhino, but there's other people I would have thought would have voted against this before him. But, a loser's a loser. There's no changing that. But yeah, you're right. I mean, when this gets to the Senate, they're not going to have the votes there to push it through. Of course, somebody on the left will filibuster. They'll need a 60-vote majority because that's the game right now. But yeah, I mean, I do think the other bill that was put forward by, and I'm sorry, I'm blanking on who, to instead enact the essentially character clauses to remove these judges where they wouldn't need a 2/3 or a 60-vote majority in the Senate. I think that's the route they need to go. They need to file this on all these justices that are getting involved or judges that are getting involved here and remove all of them and defund the D.C. District Court. But they don't have the courage to do that right now. But I mean, luckily the Supreme Court is starting to act, and at least for now, the majority is siding with Trump. As they should on most of these things. We just got to keep an eye on Amy Coney Barrett, because I do think that the Chief Justice Roberts is going to reluctantly side with Trump, because at the end of the day, a lot of these are very clear rule of law, constitutional issues that there's not really any arguing against it, that the executive branch clearly has these powers. And I do think even for Rob, I read a little bit about this and kind of his philosophy and how he's voted in the past in an article yesterday. And I do think most of these, as they hit the Supreme Court, Roberts is going to have to reluctantly side with Trump, because at the end of the day, Trump's side, the executive, clearly has these powers that they're trying to diminish or steal.
Yeah, I want to give a quick shout out to Dan Dreyer in the Rumble chat, and then we got West Virginia Knothawk over here in the X chat. Thaddeus says Mike Turner voted against this to get his name on the news. He's an otherwise unknown, and that's true as well. But except now he's going to be known for the wrong reasons. He's an idiot, I guess, if that was his reason for doing that. And then the only thing I agree with everything you just said, Mike. I only want to make one point of clarification. Roberts and the Supreme Court are not siding with Trump. They are siding with the Constitution.
Yes.
President Trump just happens to have the Constitution on his side on these rulings. And honestly, if all those judges were going by the Constitution and took their personal feelings of President Trump and the other feel good emotions out of it, it would be 9-0 sort of rulings on the Supreme Court right now. But for whatever reason, some of them are letting their emotions and their personal feelings get in the way and blur those lines of the Constitution. The Constitution's pretty daggone clear, honestly, when you get down to it. But they've muddied all these waters beyond our wildest dreams.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And I expect Ketanji Brown Jackson and Sotomayor and the other one, I always forget her name. There's a little short, fat one. I expect the three leftist judges to automatically side against anything Trump related. They've all three clearly got Trump derangement syndrome. But yeah, you're right. It's really the Constitution here winning, not President Trump. Yeah, I think that's really the key, though. It's at the end of the day, Roberts, he's not that far of a wacko. When it comes down to clear-cut constitutional issues like this, he does have lines he won't cross. So reluctantly, he's supporting Trump by backing the Constitution. But we got a lot of news here to get into. Trump pauses tariffs for 90 days on non-retaliating countries, raises tariffs on China to 125% effective immediately. And this sent shockwaves through the stock market. We had record surges yesterday. You said the Dow went up. That was the highest recorded gains in the Dow's history yesterday. Is that correct?
That's what I was reading. Yeah, it was almost 3,000 points. It was 2,900 and something odd point gain. And from what I was reading, I mean, I'm not an expert. I'm not a historian on it. But from what I was reading, that was the largest single day gain in Dow Jones history. And so, it's nice having a businessman running our business, our business, because America is a business. And it's nice having somebody who loves our country and is willing to do. I think a lot of us are underestimating how much courage it has taken for President Trump to do this. There's a lot of people who's like, we need to do this, but when it comes down to it, do they have the courage to actually do it? And these are some bold moves that he's making on behalf of all of us. I'm proud to support President Trump on these bold moves, and I think we're going to win in the long run. But it took a lot of guts and courage to do everything that he's been doing thus far, and I think we're all going to benefit from it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, think about it. Every step of the way, the media has been telling us to expect the apocalypse, that Trump doesn't know what he's doing. This idiot's going to put the United States into a Great Depression, blah, blah, blah. But over and over again, they just keep getting egg on their face. And again, this is part of why people have just lost trust with the American media, because they're essentially constant cheerleaders for America's demise. They're clearly becoming pro-China and everything else. I mean, think about it right now. What's going through the minds of a lot of these uniparty rhinos that have been owned by China for the last 10 years. I mean, their handlers, their little, their fangs right now have got to be screaming in their ears right now. You promised this never happened. We not deal with tariffs. They're probably getting screamed at left and right, and there's nothing they can do about it. It's working. The American people are now behind this policy. They don't trust the media anymore. The lies aren't working regarding this trade war. Everything's coming up roses right now, and the world unites against CCP. Stocks soar after strong demand in Treasury auction and tariff pause. Something else that I was brought up that I read through yesterday is supposedly one of the things that's going on behind the scenes as we start negotiating with these 90 plus countries now that have reached out for tariff relief or to make a deal is we're basically encouraging a lot of them to say, hey, you know what? We buy a lot of stuff from this subsidiary that you guys own, this, I don't know, let's say LG, I think that's a South Korean company. Why don't you guys bring your production back home to South Korea or send it to the U.S. That way you can avoid these tariffs. So a lot of these countries are uniting with us now to help take down the CCP, bring industry back to their country. And again, this is good for us, good for our allies. This is a win all the way around, and the media and the left are just apoplectic about it.
Man, I can't find it right now. I was looking for this thing that I read yesterday. It was kind of breaking down how, again, in the year 2000, how many countries we were the number one exporter to versus China. And then it kind of breaks down every, couple of years and shows you how this trend, really took place and to get us to the point where we're at right now. It was really fascinating. And part of that is there's a lot to unpack with all this in terms of the World Trade Organization and all of that. One of the things it's kind of getting lost in all of this, and I'm familiar with this just because I'm from coal country in West Virginia. And I mean, it's understandable that it's getting lost because there's so much amazing news to cover right now. But one of the things is, one of the other ways China has benefited is they've been considered a developing nation this entire time. So all of these climate agreements, if you will, that we're having to abide by over here, China has been exempt from those because the developing nations were not, I mean, not that they would follow the rules anyways, but they've not even had to follow the rules because they were actually exempt from these things, and we exempted them. So that's another thing. I mean, they're over burning coal and all this, have this cheap power to power all this manufacturing while we're over here, trying to convert to stupid windmills and solar panels and stuff. And I mean, the whole thing's crazy. This is huge. China does not want any part of this trade war. Trump is rewarding the countries who not only did not retaliate against us, but are also not who are also willing to choose to work with us over China. I would say that this is kind of like, and I want to leave NATO. So let me just be clarified there. I don't want any part of NATO, but I almost envision what they're trying to build here as like an economic NATO, if you will, of these are the countries that share our views, opinions, values. Kind of like we've been talking about on the show for a while, propping up other countries who share our values and our views. That's how I'm envisioning this. I don't know that, but that's kind of like the big picture that I'm seeing that it looks like they're trying to create here through this whole pausing the tariffs again and telling people, hey, don't work with China, that sort of thing. That's what I'm envisioning happening. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's how I see it.
Yeah, bingo. I think you're exactly right. Like this is what we're seeing right now. This really is a global realignment on trade. We're just seeing the start of it right now. You'll be 6 months to a year from now is when you'll really see the effects. When not everything that you buy at Walmart or on Amazon has a made in China tag on it. You're going to start seeing India, Malaysia, other countries, South Korea, Japan, that you're going to start seeing manufacturing spread back around the world. And that is going to help our allies and us. I would much rather buy products from a country like Japan or Australia or somebody else like that that's friendly to the United States than I would from China, from a country that hates us. I'm tired of propping up their economy and watching our wealth leave our nation and then go to Beijing, where it doesn't even benefit the people there; it just benefits the CCP oligarchs. There was a story breaking in China right now that they're trying to squash about how wealthy Xi Jinping's family has become. That it's an entire family of millionaires, when previously it was him and some relative, some cousin that also had a business. There was a reason he was wealthy, but now it's the whole family. It's everybody. They're all multimillionaires. They're now the oligarch class in China. EU pauses countermeasures against U.S. steel tariffs for 90 days. Just in, European Union bends the knee to Trump on tariffs while China throws another tantrum and restricts Hollywood movies. Oh, yeah, this is another big one. This is going to be the death of Hollywood. The winning just doesn't stop. These communists in California are about to get curb stomped if they can't. I mean, they're making movies specifically to market and sell in China now. And if that's cut off, they're done for.
Dude, this was glorious. I mean, honestly, we should consider rewarding China for cutting off these turds over there. I'm being dead serious right now. It's funny because they made that tariff or this thing to in response to the tariffs as if this is hurting us in some way, and we're all over here. The people who support the tariffs are all like cheering it on. We're like, that's awesome. Yeah. The only Americans who are upset with this are the ones who's already mad about the tariffs to begin with. I guess my question on all this too is how long until we start seeing Democrats putting CCP flags in their profiles and in their in their profile pictures and in their bios to support China over our country and President Trump. There's going to be a few who's going to do that. It's just a matter of time at this point. So really quick shout out to Kristen and Smash and Derek over here in the X chat, and then our good friend Dan Dreyer over in the Rumble chat. Shout out to you guys. Appreciate you guys for tuning in and watching the show.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of blue-haired moonbats already have Chinese flags, communist flags, CCP logos in their bios and whatnot. I mean, it's already who they are. It's just, I guess now maybe it'll be public. Now when they go to Tesla dealerships to burn down the cars, they're going to go there with CCP flags wrapped around their faces instead of masks they bought from China.
Really quick, obliviously in the Getter chat says, "This is great. It makes me think China actually has a sense of humor." It's so true too.
I love I think it was a Babylon Bee headline from yesterday that was after seeing Snow White, Xi Jinping boycotts all movies from Hollywood. So I wouldn't be surprised that was the truth either. Trump announces major tariffs on pharmaceutical imports. And again, this is something he's talked about for a long time. We talked about it yesterday. It's time to bring production of essential key items that we would need during the time of a conflict. We have to bring the production of those items back home. Doesn't matter what it is, or even if it's something we're operating at a loss. We have to have essentials here, whether that's medication, steel, weapons development, software, technology, microchips. We need to be producing these onshore in the U.S.
Absolutely. I mean, as we've said multiple times, I mean, we obviously we can't grow enough bananas and avocados to supply our people, and we're going to have to import things like that. There's going to be some other things as well, obviously, but anything that is a matter of national security we should be producing it here, number one. And if for some reason we could not, we need to find some random country somewhere that has that, and we need to help them implement the Constitution, help them implement freedom, and work with them to do that. But all these things can be made here as of right now, and they need to be. It's a matter of national security. As far as all that goes, and this is an excellent thing. I'm not a fan of big pharma by any means, but like antibiotics, for instance, those are obviously crucial to healthcare and serves an actual need, and those things should be produced here in America, just from the standpoint of supply chain issues and national security. So this is a great thing. We've been talking about all these things on the show lately, and it's awesome seeing President Trump, targeting those specific things as well. Obviously, he's not watching the show. I'm not saying that, but it's really cool to see him pushing out the things that the MAGA base in general has been talking about for a while now.
Yeah, and I think we're going to continue to see more of that. Smart economic policy, returning things home as this continues to develop. Because, right now, the big losers in this trade war are China and Canada, two countries that just can't seem to get their shit together. All right, guys, we got to take
really quick before the break. Dan Dreher, because I know we're going to switch topics. Dan Dreher says, "I don't want to pay for our enemies' military, and I don't want our enemies supplying our drugs." And I think that's like the simplest, most concise way to button up that entire topic, because I agree with that 100%.
Absolutely. I mean, this will make America stronger, and this is going to make a lot of our allies around the world stronger. Guys, we're going to take a quick break, hear from our sponsor, and we'll be right back with even more.
I hear every day about the products you all wish MyPillow carried. Well, guess what? We probably do. Slippers, bathrobes, pet beds, blankets, mattresses, sleepwear, loungewear, duvets, comforters, pot holders, aprons, oven mitts, and so much more. And they're all on sale. For example, get our best-selling standard MyPillows for only $14.98. Body pillows, $29.98. 6-piece bath towels or kitchen towel sets, just $29.98. Multi-use MyPillow 2.0s with pillowcase, $9.98. Save $40 on our Spring Percale and Giza Dream bedsheet sets. Any size, any color, and so much more. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to save up to 80% on all MyPillow products. And I've never done this before. When you spend $100 or more, you're going to get 2 standard MyPillows absolutely free.
Thank you for staying with us. And again, the best way to support our program and all the programs on X America News by supporting our sponsors. Right now, Mike Lindell and MyPillow are back in the crosshairs after he's floated the idea of running against Tim Walz, Tampon Tim, and taking over as governor in Minnesota. Again, they need your help. They need your support right now. And if you use code INSURRECTION at either MyPillow or MyStore.com, you're going to get the deepest discounts that Mike's offering right now at the moment. And again, this is a great way to support a patriot that's fought for free and fair elections and fought to save America for the last 10 years, basically, at this point. Mike's a great guy. I can vouch for that personally. And again, this is a way to support a patriot and support our program here. All right, guys, we still got more to go on here. More major news with the tariffs. Amazon cancels wholesale orders of products made in China amid trade war. And I bet this is just sending ripples through China's economy right now. We've already heard that some institutions there are having mass layoffs to make up for this loss in trade to America. But I think this is something that's only going to accelerate. We've heard Walmart's also trying to force their suppliers to absorb the cost of these tariffs, which is going to be an impossibility at this point. But yeah, a lot of these mega retailers, big box stores that have been taking advantage of Americans really here, and instead using slave labor in China to produce cheap goods. Well, that's not gonna be happening, not in the foreseeable future. And again, I think that's a good thing.
It's fascinating too, like the left, who are the main ones, who's like, anybody who's rich is a bad person. How dare somebody, make all this money, all these sorts of things. Like, the tariffs are going to help combat a lot of the things that they're actually rooting for and cheering for. They're just too dumb to see that. I mean, to your point, that Nike, for instance, has shipped these jobs over there where they're paying people peanuts, and they're raking in insane profits by doing so. They would still make a profit if they made those things here and paid a living wage to American workers. They would still make a profit. It's not like they'd go bankrupt or anything like that. But they just wouldn't make as much profit on the backs of slave labor. And so it's the exact same thing that the Democrats or the left is actually supportive of, but they've been so brainwashed to get around this. It's fascinating. You're talking about Walmart and everything. As you said, that the suppliers are not going to absorb that cost. That's just dumb to even think about that.
Yeah.
I wonder if this would help break up that monopoly of some sort. I miss when I was a little kid and you went to the town and you had all these little small independent shops. And then Walmart comes into that area, and they build just outside of town, so they don't have to pay the taxes and all that. And all these shops are now closed down. All these small businesses are gone. It would be nice to get back. I mean, I know we'll never get back to exactly what it was, but it'd be nice if this tariff issue and the Made in America stuff was able to empower some small hardware stores and such like that to pop back up in these small communities that were once the backbone of these communities. It'd be nice if we could see some of that come back as a byproduct of the tariff issue that or the tariff war, I guess, that we're going through right now.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's a big part of what this is about. It's Main Street's turn to restore the American dream. U.S. Treasury Secretary warns Wall Street. Now, this is really interesting. There's an article over on Zero Hedge, and I don't remember if it was this one or another one that I read over there. I read a few of these yesterday. I had a lot of screen time reading articles for whatever reason yesterday evening. But anyway, one of these had a great example, and I'm going to kind of paraphrase from this a little bit, kind of simplify it. But one of the things they talked about is there's a lot of companies that's, pretend to be U.S. companies. And yeah, they are based in the U.S., but a lot of their manufacturing production is done in China, where they send out raw materials from America. China then builds whatever, they send it back here, they package it up, and they sell it as if it's an American-made product, when in reality it's a American company selling products made in China. So anyway, let's pretend we got a baseball bat manufacturer, and they've been sending slabs of, curly maple or whatever they make baseball bats out of, ash, whatever. Let's say those things, to keep the math easy, let's say they're $10. I got my calculator right here. So they send these to China. Immediately they hit the Chinese tariff, 85%. So now $18.50 for that material as it comes in. Now, they use $5 worth of Chinese slave labor, and let's say then they mark it up to an even $25, and they send it back to the U.S. So product arrives in the U.S. So already, once they get hit with the next tariff, before this can go retail, go to sale, it's going to get another 125% tariff on it, making the base cost $56.25. Now let's say they got to sell this baseball bat to turn a profit. They're going to be nice. It's going to be $65 now. Well, now this opens up opportunity for small American businesses who can buy that same $10 piece of lumber. Let's say they've got to pay somebody. Let's just say $20. Now that's their cost to turn this into a bat and get it to market, and they're going to sell it for $35. Now all of a sudden, they can compete. Whereas before, when China was not under these tariffs, they could exploit the slave labor, make this bat, and then it could come back to the U.S. at, let's say, $17, and then they could sell it for $25. So this all of a sudden creates huge opportunities for American-based business, American-based jobs, and real manufacturing from raw materials here at home. So yeah, we're going to see some upheaval. I guess a lot of these sporting goods companies especially have been exploiting this essentially loophole for decades now, but this is going to return real opportunity here at home. And that's what China, I don't think, understands. I think they ate a big one on this.
Yeah, I do as well. And, once again, we are the economic superpower of the world, and if you want access to that, then you're going to you're going to pay for that. I mean, that's just all there is to it. Especially, I mean, the fact that we're this economically tied to a direct enemy of ours is concerning in itself. But we've been getting taken advantage of. We've lost millions of good paying manufacturing jobs to other countries through the failures of previous administrations. And I don't know how anyone, other than their blind hatred of President Trump, I don't know how anyone could be opposed to the things that President Trump is saying and doing. I don't understand, other than their blind hatred. That's the only reason, or you hate America. Those are the only two options as to be opposed to what President Trump is doing right now. I mean, that's the only way that you can explain it, because anybody with common sense and anybody who loves our country and anybody who's able to set aside their personal feelings would be supportive of all the things that President Trump is at least attempting to do right now, which is bringing back jobs to a lot of these would be in blue cities. A lot of these manufacturing jobs were lost in major blue cities, even, like look at I mean, most cities are blue compared to the rural areas, but I mean, look at these areas that's lost all these jobs, man. Good paying manufacturing jobs over the years. It's sad, and this is going to be life-changing for American families moving forward if we can just stick to the plan, continue trusting in President Trump, and see this thing through. And even if it's not, I believe 100% it's going to be life-changing in a positive way for America. But let's just say that it flops. Let's just say that if we can always go back to doing what we were doing, which also wasn't working. So, I mean, the definition of insanity is continuing to do the same thing over and over and over. And we've been doing that same thing over and over and over with a negative impact on America. So even if I disagreed with what President Trump was doing, which I don't, but even if I did, I would still be supportive of trying something new. I would at least be open to that, considering that what we've been doing has not been working for America for the last multiple decades.
Yeah, agreed. Well, there are a few other reasons you might be rooting against this. Let's say you're owned by the CCP already. You're one of these politicians that's clearly been taking bribes or kickbacks or whatever else. Which again, we need to start investigating some of that. The DOJ really needs to look into who all's been purchased by China, especially after all the information about the Biden crime family. Or, you're just one of these Democrats that knows that if Trump continues to succeed, your political future's over. So you're just against it for your own self-interest. I got a video I want to play for you guys before we jump into the next slide here.
Consumer prices month over month. So this was actually a drop of 0.1%, negative 0.1%. That's the first time we've seen that since COVID. Year over year, the annual inflation rate was at 2.4%. This was also better than expected and a 6-month low, moving in the right direction. As far as why this happened, there's a few drivers. One thing that really played a role here, as you can see the trend here, the inflation rate dipping a little bit. One of the drivers was energy. The fact that gasoline prices did not move up like they usually do in the month of March, that really helped the inflation.
When after when after when, consumer prices fell in March, defying predictions on tarifflation. The winning really doesn't ever stop with President Trump. We're going to have to get used to this.
Absolutely. And we chose the CNN clip because I think it drives home a bigger point as to, that they hate to have to admit that. I mean, they were probably looking for any way, any loophole to be like, that's not actually positive. It's not actually, there's this that people are not taking into account. Like they had to hold their nose and admit that on CNN TV. And I think it was awesome. I think it was hilarious. And I mean, as Trump's saying, inflation is down. Core inflation is down as well. Let me find that information really quick. I posted about it right before we came on the show, so I should be able to find it really quick. But that's some really, once again, more positive news. It's the economy that's driving everything. And wow, I post too much sometimes. But man, where's it at? All right, we'll go to you, Mike, and I'll find it and we'll figure it out in a second, because I want to get the stuff there for everybody.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this is good news all the way around. And again, it shows you the experts aren't really experts. They're just someone who happens to have a degree or a background that's there to root against America and President Trump. They always pretend everything is going to be doom, gloom, the worst thing possible. How could somebody be this stupid? And then 24 hours later, you have 100% reversal, whether it's, them hoping for an annihilation of the stock market on Monday and then instead having a largest rally of all time for the Dow Jones Industrial Average, largest single day gain in points, just 48 hours later. So these people are constantly proven wrong, but they stick to their guns. They're there to hate President Trump and hate whatever positive happens to the American people.
Well, they're good at that for sure. So here it is. So I wanted to make sure I had the numbers correct. I don't want to misspeak here. So for the first time in 4 years, and that would go back to the peak of COVID, core inflation is below 3%. This is a total drop of 60 basis points in the first 3 months since President Trump took office. This is absolutely incredible. I mean, there was basically a runaway train, and President Trump tapped the brakes and it stopped on a dime in terms of what was happening. I mean, this is unheard of. This is none of these experts would, so-called experts, self-claimed experts, none of them would have, 3 months ago told you that this was even possible, what we're seeing right now. So that is huge news. The fact that, core inflation is below 3%, like I said, for the first time in 4 years. That is like the real, I guess, effect that people would feel in their wallets and everything, in terms of purchasing power, those sorts of things. This is incredible, and we're just getting started. That's the thing. You can only imagine, and this is during the so-called chaos of the tariff situation right now. I mean, just imagine when President Trump gets that. I mean, we got the thing stopped. Imagine when he gets it turned around, gets it going, and gets that thing humming, what that's going to do for the American economy. We are so blessed and so fortunate to not only have President Trump, but to have President Trump at a time such as this.
We are going to have an economic boom, an unseen prosperity that hasn't been seen in decades, I think, within like 6 months. At this point, I think they're running out of ways to sabotage President Trump, and things keep working out exactly as intended. And we are on a much better path than we've been in at least 3 decades now. But, not everybody can be happy. Pencil neck over here. Senator Adam Schiff, I will investigate to determine if members of the White House were involved in insider trading before Trump's tariff announcement. My God. Trump told people on Truth Social to buy American. Now's a good time to bet on America and invest in American stocks while the market went down. Schiff seems to think Truth Social is like a secret way that Trump can communicate to just his supporters. He doesn't seem to understand it's a public platform that obviously everyone in the mainstream media has their eyes on, if nothing else, at least Trump's tweets, truth posts, whatever the hell they're called. This is not insider trading. If you say something publicly and you tell people to invest in America, that the tariffs are working, we're getting what we want, that is not insider trading. That is a public announcement.
Yep. Really quick shout out to Maven in the Getter chat, and then in the X chat we've got Austin the Cold Cracker, and then Jay Glory Days over here. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Look, I mean, Adam Schiff, first of all, how long has he been in office, and how many times has he proposed to abolish insider stock trading for members of Congress? How many times has he actually used that to his own benefit? So first of all, there's that. Second of all, as you pointed out, this was a public statement of now's a good time to buy. How is that any sort of insider thing? I don't know. It's not like they have a list of Trump supporters and only texted, the Trump supporters on a secure device and said, hey, buy this specific stock right now, and then it shot up, or even their immediate family. That this is insane. That he would make this allegation, him of all people for that matter. And then I just want to say, obviously there's no wrongdoing here, but even if there was, okay, the difference would be that when the Democrats do it, they're the only ones that benefit from it. It's actually to the detriment of everyone else. I wouldn't even really care that much if it's improving the whole country. Like if everybody's eating, like, you know what I mean? Like we're getting some too. Like it's at least better than what they were doing. So I know that nothing nefarious happened. I'm just saying, even if it did, at least it's still benefiting the entire country and helping all of us, as opposed to doing it to the demise of the rest of this country the way that the Democrats have done it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Schiff's whole point on this too is that there were a large number of puts, holds, people betting that certain stocks would fall, other ones would jump back up. And again, that's not insider trading. At least there's no evidence I've seen. Nothing even Schiff's pointed to that suggests that. That's people watching the markets and actually understanding what Trump's been doing with these tariffs. Again, this isn't the first time. It's something we've been looking at for the last several weeks, several months with the tariff policy. The tariff goes out there, Trump negotiates, tariff is retracted. That's been the pattern we've seen with Mexico and Canada, numerous other nations leading up to this. That you have a threat of the 50% in tariff if you don't close down your border, do something to stop fentanyl coming in. They comply, tariff goes away. This is a pattern. There's smart monkeys that can recognize this. Maybe not Democrats, but there's smart monkeys that understand what's going on at this point. It should not be a surprise to anyone. It certainly does not appear to be evidence of insider trading. Now, I do think they ought to just maybe take this as a time to investigate everyone in Congress for insider trading. Make sure there's not any improprieties anywhere. But that's not what you want, is it there, Adam?
Well, I just want to quickly say Media Matters, all those left-wing groups that watch our show, you need to call Mock out. He just made a racist comment and compared Democrats to monkeys. So
yeah, well, I don't want to insult monkeys. So yeah, I'll go ahead and apologize there.
There you go. I really quick want to give a shout out to Shelly P, who says, I want Shifty to be the first perp walk. I think there's a lot of people who would want that. Shout out to KSJ, a good friend of mine here on X and a great person to follow. She puts out really good stuff, especially if you're into art and creative and all those sorts of things. But yeah, I think there's a lot of people who want Shifty Shift to be one of the first ones. And then also a shout out to FG over here in the Getter chat. We appreciate it. And then Dan Dreyer talking about the low in the Rumble chat, lowest inflation since March 2020. What changed? As we've been saying lately, all we needed was a new president.
Yeah. Another interesting one was the last time the stock market had a jump anywhere near this high was 5 years ago when Trump was in office the last time. But of course, you're not going to see anybody talk about that. We're gonna kind of move, maybe not move on. We're gonna move sideways. So we also have this. This is an interesting story and something I wasn't aware of either. GOP rep introduces bill after discovering Chinese communist-owned stores on U.S. military bases. I did not know GNC was owned by the CCP, but apparently it is. But it isn't just them. It's a number of other businesses located on military bases. And again, I don't understand why you would have a non-U.S. business open up within a restricted U.S. military base. It just makes zero sense to me, but yet here we are, because everything we do right now doesn't make any sense. And when did this start? Did this start during the Biden regime? How far back does this go?
I would imagine this goes back much further than that. I want to give a really quick shout out to Country Guy 1989 over in the chat as well. But I would imagine it goes much further back than even Biden. And to your point, like, as an American citizen, we can't just walk on to these military bases, and we shouldn't be able to. I mean, I'm perfectly fine with that, but I'm just saying that to drive home the point that now we're turning around and letting China-owned businesses operate there. And people have to remember, this isn't a Chinese citizen who owns the business and just happens to be a Chinese. They can't own businesses. The government owns every part of these businesses over there. So, I mean, China, the government, the CCP, the people that we are consider our enemy, is able to go onto these military bases in these secure areas where we're not allowed to go to. Plus, we're propping them up. They're benefiting from it. The only, and I'll say this about any country, no other country should have a business on American military bases, at least inside the United States of America. I mean, maybe there's some reason that they could claim that they could in another country, on a base in another country. But in America, at the very least, there's no way that any country should be allowed to own a business on an American base. It should be American businesses only. And to me, once again, this is common sense. I don't know how anybody could be opposed to correcting this issue, but you will watch. There'll be most of the Democrats and even a handful of Republicans who will probably fight back against this in some way or another, which is absolutely insane to me.
Yeah, honestly, I mean, it's a U.S. military base. It's U.S. property. It's considered U.S. ground, even if you're in Italy or wherever. I don't see any reason to let foreign businesses open up within the U.S. military base. You want to let them open up their little coffee shop right across the street, right down the street. It's still going to get, obviously they're there to help generate real revenue on U.S. soldiers, and that's fine. If we're in their country, we have our base there, and they want to help some of their people to benefit from that financially. Great, fine. I have no problem with them opening a little coffee shop right across the street, or whatever business, have a strip mall over there where people can buy kebabs and whatever else, local products. Great. That should be a perk of allowing the U.S. to have a base on your soil. But on the base itself, it should be restricted to just U.S. companies, just U.S. goods, and not just to benefit American businesses, but also because of security reasons. We can't have somebody come in with a foreign company that has a person that is, high risk that then tries to, I don't know, slip a USB device to a soldier that'll get put in a computer and then they own our network. We don't need any unnecessary security risks. So, yeah, I don't know why this is happening, who allowed this, but it's something we should put a stop to immediately.
Well, as Dan Dreyer in the Rumble chat says, we've been infiltrated everywhere. And it's amazing because, like, I remember when I was little and everybody would talk and mention about how, it would be almost impossible to invade the mainland of the United States of America, not just because of our military, but because of so many Americans have, weapons and know how to use them as well, So people talked about that. And at the time that was true. And it probably is still true to this day in terms of an actual military attempting to storm the beaches of America and mainland. But instead, I think they even knew that as well, and they have turned around, and this is like multiple Trojan horses. Like forget one Trojan horse. We just was like, we're going to bring in a Trojan train load of them. Come on in, guys, and that's what we've allowed to happen. Absolutely, I can't believe this. Shout out to Terry Grimm over here, who's saying, "What? How in the world does this happen?" Smash in the X chat says, we need to confiscate any and all Chinese companies and land on U.S. soil. I would agree 100% on that.
Yes.
The fact that they own land, and I've got a chart. I'll send it to you, Mike. We can maybe bring it up on the show tomorrow that kind of shows how much land China owns in each state. It is absolutely mind-blowing. And forget conquering America with military force. They're just buying up America right now. And that's
Exactly.
and we're selling it to them. Our founding fathers would be so frustrated if they knew what was going on right now.
Oh, absolutely. And yeah, luckily there are a few states starting to push back and seize Chinese-owned land. And this is an area where you and I kind of do disagree a little bit. But, if you got a company over here, like somebody from, say, like South Korea, like one of these big microchip manufacturers, that they're going to build a multi-billion-dollar facility here, I don't have a problem with them owning the land that is on, because they're making a huge investment here, and they need to know that the lease isn't going to get pulled out from under them, or nothing else is going to happen after making this gigantic investment. But anyone that is not clearly an ally of the United States, they shouldn't be able to own any property. And like I said, anybody that does, it ought to be just for that business right there, for that facility they're on, where they're making the investment in our country. I do think it's fair that they own that, or at least their American subsidiary owns that legally, so they can protect their own interests just like we would want to elsewhere.
I think we should give them a 100-year lease, 200-year lease at $1 a year sort of thing, to where like they don't have to worry about it, but they still don't own it. That's my view. I don't think that any country should own a single grain of American sand for any reason whatsoever. And quite frankly, if they don't want to do that, then once again, back to the tariff issue, then you don't have access to the greatest economy in the entire world. So either you can accept the lease, or you can go sell to Cambodia if you want to. Good luck doing that.
Yeah, well, I just think we're going to miss out on a lot of, especially when it comes to like major investment like microchip manufacturing, that they've got to have some reason to hold. Guys, we do have to take one last quick break, and then we'll be right back with even more.
Well, hello everybody, it's Annie Cyrus. Welcome to my art studio where all the magic happens. This is the station for painting, and that is the station for all the resin art I do. If you want to check out my art, all you gotta do is go to lutfstudio.com. But I'm sure, for at least I hope, I'll see you at lutfstudio.com.
Thank you for staying with us. And again, the best way to support our program and all the programs here on X American News by supporting our sponsors. Go to lutfstudios.com right now. Buy yourself a unique, handmade, one-of-a-kind heirloom art piece made by Annie Cyrus. Great way to keep us on the air, support her, and support an American small business. Guys, we got just a couple stories to get to still, and we are just about out of time, but I want to at least bring a few of these up. Whistleblower drops bombshell during Senate hearing, accuses Facebook, Meta, of secretly aiding China and undermining U.S. national security. Now, you've done a little research on this, but I had just seen this story this morning. So give us the rundown on this one, Derek.
Man, there's a lot actually to unpack on this. So this is according to Wynne William, who's a Facebook whistleblower in the Senate hearings yesterday, and she said that Meta began providing briefings to the CCP as early as 2015. While they were pursuing Project Aldrin. It was a top secret effort to gain access to China's lucrative market, basically. So basically, Facebook was willing to sell out America in order to get access to the Chinese market, which is absolutely crazy in itself. There was some other things going on here. It was involving AI technology. So basically, Facebook, Meta, has helped China develop AI technology while we're in this race, if you will. This is like the modern, space race. Today is the AI race, and Meta has been going behind our backs and helping China to do this. So the AI, Meta's AI model, which they call Llama, I think is how you say it, according to Wynne Williams, says contributed significantly to Chinese advances in AI technologies like DeepSeek and other things over there. This is unbelievable that this has happened. And then let me find the other thing I have pulled up over here. So this is from Senator Josh Hawley, who was involved in this hearing yesterday. And there's a little clip, and I'll try to get it. We can pull it on the show tomorrow. But in the post, he says, here is Meta willing to build data centers and store data in China. But even worse, this is our data that they're collecting on all of us, because we know that Facebook is one of the top data collectors in the social media game. In addition to building the data centers and storing the data in China, they were willing to explicitly give the Chinese government access to it. So that means American user data is compromised not only by the American government, but is being handed over to China. This is unbelievable. And then there was something else there on this. Oh, the whistleblower herself is that she faces $50,000 in damages every time she mentions Facebook in public because of some crazy ruling. Facebook's claiming it's their separation agreement or whatever. So every time this woman speaks out, they're actually fining her $50,000, and she's still speaking out about it. So to me, that makes it a lot more believable as well. I mean, she's sacrificing everything to blow the whistle on this, which I think is absolutely mind-blowing. There's a few other things, but I'll let you go ahead and comment on this while I'm pulling up some more information on that.
I mean, this is unbelievable. And you talk about something that really needs to be brought in for an investigation. People need to be facing criminal charges. The fact that, if they handed over every American that's on Facebook's data to China, then I'd say they're liable for that. And this is a perfect time for a giant class action lawsuit and maybe shut these losers down once and for all. They have un-American values. They assisted in spying on Americans. They censored things at the behest of the federal government. We know Zuckerberg was in compliance, even though he said, they were threatened into it. But, maybe this is our opportunity to tear these monsters down brick by brick.
So one of the things that motivated them was Facebook was trying to build an $18 billion business in China. So they were trying to win over favor with Beijing as part of the reason they were doing that. They also had previously had congressional hearings where Meta officials completely lied to Congress about everything that they were doing, saying, no, we're not doing those things. But they absolutely, were doing those things, according to the whistleblower, who, once again, I said, is sacrificing quite a bit in order to do this. And like I said, this was this comes at a time where there's a major AI race, technology race in our country, and it's crazy. And then also, this is the other thing I couldn't find exactly. I wanted to get it right. I didn't want to tell you guys something wrong. according to Wynn Williams, the whistleblower, she also said that Meta deleted the Facebook account of a prominent Chinese dissident who was living in the U.S. and they did so due to pressure from Beijing. So the account belonged to some billionaire. I don't speak Chinese, but Guo Wengu, and they're claiming that that this person violated Facebook's rules by sharing sensitive information about other people. BS. Wynn Williams is saying that they deleted it because Beijing was basically saying this person's speaking out against us. And they're a billionaire living in the U.S. You need to delete their account, and they did. Just once again trying to gain favor, and this all comes at a time too where you got to remember that Mark Zuckerberg is attempting to repaint himself as this American patriot sort of thing now. Yeah, and as if he's on our side and all these things, and then all this is coming out. So I've never trusted him, and we definitely should not trust him. But this is insane that this is happening, and there needs to be some major consequences for these actions.
Oh, agreed. Yeah. Facebook's never been an ally or a friend of the American people, but this is way too much. This is over the line in multiple ways, and I think this is an opportunity to again help take down another institution that props up the modern left and the globalist movement. They've crossed way too many lines, and it's time to end their power that they have over us. Guys,
quick question. There's somebody in the comments, and I hadn't put a lot of thought into this, just so you guys know. I've been researching and trying to get some information to share with you guys. I haven't really had the time to digest. This is kind of the first time. But Thaddeus over here in the X chat is asking, could this be considered treason? The fact that that he's going to a known enemy and is selling and helping them in a time, like I said, this is very sensitive American technology and all these other things. There's definitely I haven't thought about it all. I'm kind of digesting around over the first time. There's definitely something to consider there at the very least.
Well, think about this too. So Facebook has all this user data. They have access to like private messages, everything else. Think about how many people they can blackmail within the U.S. to get, whether it's corporate secrets, access to other things, their government employees, maybe get them to hand off something that seems innocuous, but is key in espionage, whether that is corporate espionage or actual governmental espionage. So if you all of a sudden have access to all this user data, everybody's photos, all their DMs, whatever, you have perfect blackmail material. Oh, hey, it'd be a shame if your wife found out you were chatting with this other girl you work with. You know what? We'll keep this to ourselves as long as you hand over the, the formula for Coca-Cola, whatever.
Yeah. What if I never thought about this. So that's a great point. What if, think of all the military members who have Facebook and their families as well. So, they're handing over all that data of actual soldiers who are active duty, who knows where they're stationed, and they are, sharing that information on there. That is absolutely crazy when you think about that. And not to mention the other, like you said, government employees in general who, work in these various different agencies and such who have personal Facebooks. And if they don't, their immediate family does. And now, as you said, that information is getting out there. So imagine a U.S. soldier who is on a secret mission somewhere and gets captured or anything or whatever, even if they're not captured, and the CCP has now got access to pictures of your children, your wife, your mom, your dad, all these things, not just the pictures, but they're probably their exact location of where the pictures were taken and posted and all the. This is I never, like I said, I hadn't had time to really think about. This is much, much deeper and probably more nefarious than I originally realized. Now that we're actually having the opportunity to discuss this in a little bit more depth.
Oh yeah, this is kind of, I guess, tangentially related. I happened to listen to a podcast last night, and I don't remember the lady's name that was the guest. I believe she was a former CIA operative. But one of the things she brought up was a number of years ago, a bunch of military members went to a conference, and a major U.S. company, she didn't name who it was, but somebody that's a government contractor, not somebody nefarious, they had purchased, stuff for giveaway bags. And in that was, radio, a little, Bluetooth speakers, things like that. And all of these, like once they were connected to these military members' phones or home devices or anything else, they immediately gained control of that network. These were Chinese devices that were flooded in there as props or promo for whatever company. They bought them from a manufacturer here in the U.S. I guess China found out what they were going to be used for and embedded this software on these giveaway devices. And they, from there, managed to infiltrate the network on this base and all these people's home networks, and it was months before they figured it out. So this is the kind of thing, again, gaining access. Something small can turn into something massive. I got one last little story we want to break here before we have to go, because get ready for some more heads exploding. No more sanctuary cities. They protect the criminals, not the victims. They're disgracing our country and are being mocked all over the world. Working on papers to withdraw all federal funding from any city or state that allows these death traps to exist. Oh, heads are going to explode the minute funding is cut from all these sanctuary cities.
Well, it needs to be cut, absolutely, and I'm happy that President Trump actually made that statement. We know that President Trump's a man of his word. He doesn't not make empty promises. So if he's saying that, I have no doubt he's going to find a way to cut that funding from them. That's a first step in the right direction. After that, I want to see these sanctuary city mayors and governors arrested for aiding and abetting domestic terrorists and foreign terrorists and foreign invaders of our country. So this is a great step in the right direction.
Exactly. I want to see Pritzker, Brandon Johnson, and all these other sanctuary state mayors and governors frog marched out. Can you imagine seeing Pritzker frog march? That's going to be freaking hilarious. His fat ass trying to stand up while he's cuffed from his hand and feet. Anyway, guys, we are unfortunately out of time. Thank you for staying with us. Please like, share, and subscribe. Help us to grow so we can bring more people the news the mainstream media doesn't want you to hear. We'll be